these are very hard issues for us to process because maybe I'm limited in my thinking. Height of earnings season, getting really conflicting evidence that says how weak Europe is. Europe is at the epicenter of weakness. They're probably already in a recession. And UK is a bit of a sideshow.
Agreed.
It's brutal because it's such an important country historically.
It is. Does resignation of the PM there have any impact on our markets in a real way?
Whatsoever.
That said, there's a lot of people still looking at the tumult that took place, still going on, but less so in their bond markets. When she first came in a few weeks ago, and they introduced, of course, the plan to cut taxes dramatically and sort of unfunded tax cuts, so to speak. Right, and then what that did to the underlying markets, people worry one day, well, could that ever come here, right?
Well, I just think that there would be another time when we would just say that it's a giant clown show over there. I mean, there isn't anything there that impresses me as valid the way to run a country. I mean, this was a great country. Could be a great country again.
Are you talking about us or them?
No, I'm talking about them.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, no, I mean, like...
Just checking.
When you have a prime minister, we have cabinet, everybody in trouble, move forward, and our 2-year ticks a little bit, and someone's going to say it's related to sterling. No. I mean, it's related to Fed speak. Look, we have to cover it. UK is the real country. But I just think that there was a day when I would have just been all over this, trying to figure out what the impact would be.
Isn't the story though that it's a response to bond vigilantes and markets and not just policy but now personnel doing huge U-turns?
Look, if you do something that is completely opposite of what we need in the world, which is to try to control inflation, then you deserve to be bounced. I mean, we're at this critical moment in time where we have to stop inflation. And someone comes along with a plan that, David, let's stoke inflation. And we did that in our country, and obviously we're harder on her than we are in this country.
It was odd, to say the least.
It was odd.
Yes, in terms of the timing.
I thought it was ill-advised.
It may have been, clearly it was ill-advised because she is the shortest-serving prime minister ever.
And we're in for our third just this year. Let's get to CNBC's Arbile Gumede in London with the latest on what happens next. Arbile?
Yeah, so certainly the situation here is going to be quite tenuous, right? It was about 3.5 months ago that Boris Johnson stood right here, as well as Prime Minister then, issuing his resignation. And now Liz Truss pretty much doing the same, saying as well that another leader will then be found for the UK within the week, having spoken to what is the 1922 committee, which is a leadership for the backbenchers of the Conservative Party here in the UK. That leadership then found in just about a week's time then. And Jeremy Hunt, indeed, who is the Chancellor of the Exchequer, or the Finance Minister, saying that he will not be putting his name in the ballot box to run as Conservative Party leader or as a Prime Minister. So that takes one person out of the equation. But there are a few names that are still being bantered around then as possible leaders for Prime Minister or the leadership of the Conservative Party, and that being Penny Mordaunt, who is currently the leader of the Conservative Party within Parliament. Then you also still have Rishi Sunak, who ran against Liz Truss as Prime Minister just around over a month ago now, before she was put in as a Prime Minister, of course. You also then have Boris Johnson, who actually leads the most recent YouGov poll as a possible candidate to take over from Liz Truss. Of course, he was the man in charge of 10 Downing Street just before Liz Truss. So very interesting that name brings and rears its head again then. Coming out with a statement then at around 30 minutes ago, Liz Truss, the Prime Minister then, had said that I recognize, though, that given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party, and have thus spoken to the King, His Majesty, to notify him that I'm resigning as leader of the Conservative Party. All of this coming after that mini budget on the September the 23rd, which indeed raised fears fears around market turmoil, even forcing the Bank of England, the central bank, to intervene in the gilt market and causing a whole host of turmoil, seeing the finance minister then leave the office a few days later, and now even a home office secretary also leaving. So a lot of turmoil still happening. We'll see how this transpires.